So thank you for joining us for another great episode of Let's Talk. It's going to be a good show tonight. So we're going to go ahead and get something for us to talk about. So let's talk. All right, y'all. Let's talk. We're about to get started. So before we get started, like we always do, we always like to do a prayer. So I'll get Andrea, please, to give us a prayer.
Amen. All right. Well, Lord, we come to you thanking you for this day, for this is the day that you have made, and we choose to rejoice and we choose to be glad in it. We pray, God, that everything that is done and said tonight would be for your glory and for our good. Bless our guests and bless, Lord God, that Let's Talk hosts and co-hosts. We pray, God, that all of us will leave here differently. We'll leave here better than we are right now. Continue to be glorified in our lives is our prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, Andrea, you want to go ahead and do our intros?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Let's Talk. I am Andrea Collins, host, Andrea Collins White, as Regina has said, your moderator for the evening, and Let's Talk co-host. Tonight's guest will inform you, equip you, encourage you, and inspire you with the knowledge, clarity, and tools needed to exceed your business goals and transform you into a high-performing CEO of your business. You're definitely in for a treat tonight, so sit back, enjoy, and be sure to post your comments. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Let's Talk 1943 on any and all social media platforms. Now, let's welcome tonight's platform guest. This international business and leadership coach from Toronto, Canada, enjoys spending time in nature, traveling, dancing, and good food. Nancy Perotin. Let's welcome Nancy. I'm sorry, Maggie Perotin. Maggie Perotin.
Thank you for having me, ladies. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Our next guest is a native New Yorker who currently resides in North Carolina. She's earned a degree in business administration with a concentration in international business. She is an up-and-coming wellness travel coach and tonight's platform guest. Please welcome Carla Stain.
Hello.
Hi, Carla.
Hi, how you doing?
Welcome. And now let's welcome our Let's Talk crew. Give a hearty welcome to Let's Talk co-host Carla Morgan.
Hello, everybody. Let's talk.
And now sit back, turn the volume on your televisions and devices up, and prepare for another amazing evening of sharing, motivation, and uplifting conversation as we welcome Let's Talk host Regina Smithwick.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you for joining us this evening. I'm so happy that you are here with us this evening. And we are going to go ahead and get into it. If you don't know, our topic is called Leaving the Corporate World. So we had actually three people on here that's going to talk about that in different stages that they're in. So we're going to just go ahead and dig right in. So I want to go ahead and start it off with Maggie, if you don't mind. So Maggie, just give us a little, like a little bit about what you do and a little bit about the corporate world, leaving the corporate world.
Yes, so I'm a business and leadership coach. I help service-based entrepreneurs grow their businesses, and really become high-performing CEOs of their business. I do also help my clients leave the corporate world, just like I did. And I'm very passionate. I did, this year, I left my corporate role. I've been in the corporate 13 years, leadership positions, but I built my business on the side slowly to feel confident to leave it this year. So.
Yes, I know. And that's the thing we're going to talk about, the stages of. And I'm so proud that I actually have one of my co-hosts who did the same thing and she's flourishing, and she has her own. So Carla Morgan. Now we got two callers tonight, y'all. So we sound like we in school. Carla Morgan and
Carla M and Carla S.
So Carla Morgan, do you want to talk a little bit about, you're leaving, what was your why and about you leaving the corporate world per se?
Yeah. Hey, I've talked about it a little bit here and there on the show. I just left because it was 2020, job loss and everything, and I just wanted my life to look different, and I didn't want to work as in a 9-to-5, the typical 9-to-5 anymore. I wanted to change some things up and use my skills a different way, because I was just worn down in the corporate environment. So I was like, how can I make myself happy and also give back and use my skill set to help, small businesses, startups, entrepreneurs, and CEOs of that nature. And and now I am persistent, and I love it. I love working, for myself. So yeah.
Yeah, and I could tell, I mean, being around you for the whole process, you just wholly, like your whole personality, I could tell that you're happy, you feel like, freedom, and you're able to do things that you couldn't do before. So, I mean, I know it's a great feeling, and you're doing a great job at it. So I'm proud of you. And so we'll talk to, no problem, girl. We'll talk to Carla Stain now. So Carla Stain, do you want to just give us a little synopsis of like your journey so far?
Okay, yes. So I would say I didn't completely leave the corporate world. What I did was I left my good government job and order to pursue, what I love to do and follow my dreams. So I stepped out on faith. I relocated and started doing some me work, and then started setting up my business, the foundation for my business.
Yeah, and especially that you're doing what you want to do. So right. This is the reason why I wanted to do this show, because you're doing, everybody who said something did it differently in different ways. And it's not one way of doing this. It's not like you got to be like, I quit and just walk out, and don't have no plan or, and leaving in an abrupt way. You don't have to do that. We have Maggie who said she did it side, she had to kind of build it up on the side until she had enough clientele business for her to go ahead and leave. Carla had a layoff issue because of what's going on with COVID. And then Carla, she went from one to another, but she's doing a plan that she's in now, the field she want to be in, and then she's going to move on from there. So everybody has their own comfort zones on doing this. So this is why I think it's really important. Maggie, can you just give us let's give me some pros of you leaving the corporate world. What's some pros?
Yeah, many for me.
I won't ask you the cons then. It won't be too many.
Yeah, I would tell you quickly what got me. So, I went through a burnt out in my corporate world, and that made me realize that, maybe staying in the corporate world and getting the growth that I want for myself and as a professional, person and businesswoman, it's not worth the price that I think I would have to pay to keep growing. So that was one. And then I wanted to do more of what I love and not just what I'm good at. And I love coaching and developing people. And as I was growing up the corporate ladder, I realized I was doing less and less of that and more of dealing with the issues and things that I was just good at, but didn't really enjoy, that was causing me a lot of stress. And then also another thing, two more things. One was I didn't want it anymore having to implement somebody else's decisions that I not always agreed on. And on top of it, having, my team and kind of leading my team into that, right? Figuring things out that I knew maybe weren't the best and we could do things better. And we just, certain commitments were made sometimes to the clients and so on. I wanted to make my own decisions and be responsible for them 100%. And then the last one was really like my freedom of time completely to do other things that I wanted to do. I have a young family and so on, but also freedom of earning potential. You know, in a corporate world, there's only, oh, you can get a 3% increase no matter how great you are when you're staying in a position, or you can only, get promoted maximum once a year. And even with that promotion, you can get more than 8%. And then, you're not an engineer, or you are not this, you're not good enough, and so on. So you're sort of relying on either procedures or somebody else's opinion on how much you can earn. And I know that once you have your own business and entrepreneurship, when you really get it, there's no limit. And there's no limit how you can, create it. So those are my reasons.
Those are your pros. Yeah. Andre, you have anything to say?
I'm just listening, and I'm questioning, just not questioning, but wondering with all of the major corporations who have been established and been those that we know, those names that we know, they've suffered major setbacks during COVID, right? So I'm wondering, it sounds like it was during COVID that you both, or the three of you, are taking such a huge faith leap. So seeing everything economically that's going on, what was it that really pushed you to take such a huge faith leap?
I can go quickly. For me, it was, I started my business a little bit before COVID, and then COVID started. But because I was running it for 2.5 years, I was already feeling, okay, I have my feet on the ground. I have a solid foundation, and I definitely didn't want to go back to the office.
Exactly.
I'm in Toronto. I was commuting 45 minutes one way before COVID, and that was in a good traffic. So I was like, oh my God, 1.5 hours. I'm not coming back to it. So that was definitely like one of the things, like, I have to figure it out. I'm not. And then another thing was, I was at the same time as I was running my business, I was completing an executive MBA. This is something that I always wanted to do, and so on. And I graduated at the end of that last year. So I was like, you know what? I'm just like, fresh start. You got to rip the Band-Aid at some point, so why not now?
Why not now? That's exactly.
Why not? I like that.
Pretty much the same here with me as well. That going back to the office, that was the one that was the nail in the coffin for me, because I wasn't happy at my job, and I wanted, and after working from home for some time, doing the work, and then saying, well, now we want you to come back in the office 2 days out of the week. It made no sense to me. And I knew that I wanted this change because I was unhappy before COVID, and I was planning to leave for years. But, you get comfortable, and you get, used to being and doing what you do every day. And so I just kept doing it, but I was just existing, and I was not happy. I was not feeling like I was living. So once I got to that point where they allowed us to work from home, and I was working from home, and I was feeling much happier because I didn't have to go into the office and deal with all the energies from the people in the office and those negative vibes that they were putting off. It was better working from home. It wasn't completely happy, but it was better because I didn't have to be in that environment. But then once they started saying, oh, you have to come back in the office for 2 days out of the week, which was so stupid to me, I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And so I said, like Maggie said, you got to rip the Band-Aid off at some point. So that's what I did. I just gave my notice.
He said, "Give my notice." Like, there's a period on the end of that one. Gave my notice. Period. But see, that's the thing too. And in doing this conversation, I wanted to make it clear that we're not saying everybody. These are for the people who have that entrepreneur spirit, or people who have that in them that they want to do this. Because we need people to work jobs, because that's what makes the world go around. it's not for everyone anyway. It's not everybody don't have that spirit in them to be an entrepreneur, and that. But you could be your own entrepreneur inside of your own company. Like you could get the same like ways and doing things and stuff. Like you still could get some good stuff from here because you could probably rejuvenate your job by making it feel better by thinking differently about it. And then maybe this could help you too. But what somebody was going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say, and some people do like their jobs. They like what they do, and that's what they were put here for. The jobs are there because there's a need for it.
That's right.
And somebody has that spirit of doing those jobs. That job was not my job. That was not my spirit.
Carl be dropping mics all night. So but that's what it is too. You have to have that spirit, and a lot of people who are doing this, and these three ladies could tell you, it was in them. Like they knew it, but it was just like the fear. So let's talk about the fears, because a lot of times people have these same fears. So I'm gonna start with Carla first. Like, what fear, Carla Morgan? What fear did you have that you want to share that it wasn't as bad after you did it? Like you thought it was bad, but it wasn't as bad.
I felt like I wasn't going to be able to, be lucrative in it. That's the first thing. Am I going to be able to, have the kind of money that I was making in a corporate environment? How am I going to be able to pay for health insurance? What's the structure? Yeah, that was more, it was like the practical things. That was, am I ready, to, for it to, can y'all hear me? I know I'm going in and out a little bit.
No, we hear you good. We hear you good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was just, so that's basically what it was. That, just the practicality of it. Am I going to be able to maintain my life, my home, things of that nature. And also, who was good, what kind of clients was I going to get? Was I going to be able to get, people to come in and work and that I was able to, that I can support and live out my dream as an entrepreneur. Those kind of things was the fear. And I had been thinking about it years before. And then, unfortunately, COVID was not a good thing to happen to everybody. But for me, it opened me up and was like, if I want to do this, I got to do this now.
Yeah.
And there's no going back from here. So I can be scared all day, but I don't want to go back to where I was at, with the traffic and the sitting in the office and looking out the window, wondering what my life is supposed to be like out here. That's what my thing was. Wow. It was a serious thing for me. I was mentally working a 9-to-5 for me. I've been doing this for over 20 years and I'm tired. And I used to be the last job I had, I was literally looking out the window and I had a nice, cubicle, next to the office, next to my desk and looking out over the Atlanta, because I was in Midtown and looking over the skyline. And I was just like, man, you know what I mean? And so when COVID hit, I was just like, I'm afraid, but I don't want to go back to that. So I got to figure something out.
Like that fear, fear is something else. So,
it is.
Yeah, it is.
But it pushed me. The fear pushed me. It pushed me out versus kept me back. When the time came, it was time to do it. So yeah.
Yeah. So Maggie, you have any fears that you had or that was similar?
Yeah, very similar to, am I going to be able to maintain the lifestyle for my family and replace the salary? Because in our situation, we're a blended family with 4 kids. So partially my husband's salary goes to the alimony of my stepboys. So my salary was the one that was like, the core of our paying bills, paying mortgage and all that. So that was mostly the fear, right? Like, what if I can't do it? Or it was mostly that, what if I can do it or it won't work? So it was really building up that self-confidence that, no, I can. I'll figure it out. I've done scariest shit before in my life. So I can figure it out. So that was mainly
that was me too. Because I was a little discouraged too and wasn't confident. And like my skills, like, well, what can I do? But Yeah, that was a fear for me
Well,
as well.
yeah, that would definitely be a fear. Now, I think that what's happening with this great resignation thing that's happening now with us, I don't know, Canada, they doing the same thing?
Yep. Same thing.
Okay.
Same thing.
So that's going on in different countries. I think what happened is a lot of people had a chance to sit down first, sit down and get paid, sit down and get paid more than they were getting paid at their job, and be able to actually, when you don't have no stress on you and you could think. Now, if you were just fired or had no unemployment, your mind ain't thinking the same way. But if you're sitting back getting paid $300-$400 more a week than you were at your job, oh, your mind's gonna be definitely on a good wavelength to think about some good stuff. And you're like, you know what? I can't go back because I'm getting paid. I got used to this lifestyle. You know how quick it is for us to get used to a lifestyle of money. People were getting paid for months, getting paid $300-$400 more a month for months. You think they want to go back to like gotta cut they said because they changed their lifestyles already. Their lifestyles already changed. They got used to sort of money coming in, they pay their bills in a certain way and all that. And then they had like, okay, if I have to go back, how am I gonna go back when I've been tasting this little sweetness of this extra money? So I think a little bit of all of that kind of rolled into people going, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Like Colin said, like, I'm gonna do it. Rip the Band-Aid off, I'm gonna go out there and do it. And and most people, if they saved their money and did right by it, they could have had some little cushion to kind of carry them a little bit through that, beginning stages of your. So what do y'all think about the Great Resignation? Like, what do y'all think about that?
Yep. Personally, it's happening in Canada as well. And I think that it's happening but I think like the beginnings of it, we're already there before COVID. It's just COVID created this perfect container for people to think and say like, what is important in my life, right? Is the stress, the commute, the running around and figuring out what to do with the kids, is it worth a little bit of extra? Right? Or not, even as you say, for some people it wasn't even that, right? And a lot of people realize, no, it's not, right? There's more to life than just work, and being stressed and then all that transfers to your personal life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. Carla Stain. So what do you think about the Great Resignation? Because I know that's kind of like right. You were right in the sweet spot with that when you quit.
Yeah. So, like I said, I did it. I understand why people are doing it. It makes sense to me. You just have to evaluate what is more important to your life and in your life. Whether or not it's more important to just be in existence, working a job, going, like a robot day in and day out, doing something that's not fulfilling to you, where you're trying to live up to these requirements and standards of things that you don't even believe in. Like, you're not even in agreement with.
Right.
And so it's understandable that, a lot of people had that time when they had to, sit down and not go anywhere because of COVID. And they thought and they realized that, hey, life is short. So many people died during COVID.
Right.
So many people died that, that it was crazy and unbelievable. And when you see that, it's like, hey, that could have been me. And what would I have said for my, what would I have had shown for my life, working this job that I do not like, that, that to me was just tearing me up inside. So no, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth going back.
So the happiness, like you had said earlier, Carla, saying that the happiness, there's some people who are happy in certain positions because that's what they're calling or their purpose is. Because there's people out there that's doing great things, working in great companies, and we need them. We need them, but for the people who are not happy and they doing what y'all had done, and, and y'all saying that how, unhappy you were, doing things because you felt like, because a lot of times I think when we are younger, the whole role is, you go to college, you get that great job, and then, because a lot of people and parents are like, I need you to be stable. I need you to go out there and get a job and be stable. Now, I don't need you to be trying to build businesses and all that, because that don't bring you no money. You need to go and get you a job and pay off these college loans. That's what you need to go do. And I think sometimes you get caught in that. You know what I'm saying? You get caught and stuck in that rut. And it's hard to get off that spinning wheel. Like you on that, the hamster on the wheel, you can't get off because now you're paying off debt, you're doing this, you're getting used to a certain lifestyle. Then it's like, well, how can I start something new? I got to still pay this, that, and that. What you want to say?
I was going to say that, and with that mentality of, going to college and getting that good job to pay off these student loans, nowadays it doesn't even work like that, because even though you went to college and you got that degree and you spent all that money, the jobs that they're giving, they're not even paying enough to pay off that student loan, realistically, without you struggling along the way to make ends meet and pay that student loan off. So, because I looked at, different job announcements, and the things that they were asking for, like as far as the job duties, all the stuff that they were requiring, and then the education that they wanted you to have, bachelor's or master's or whatever, and then the salary was not adding up. It was not adding up at all. And I think it's very insulting that, that they have these requirements, but they don't want to pay for these requirements, the acknowledgments, the knowledge that people have.
Well, yeah, I know you're saying like that, but the way the world goes round, that's the way the system works. The jobs work with the colleges. They have no choice because they won't work without each other. The jobs will say, I'm not going to hire them unless they come to you and get this piece of paper. And then when they get this piece of paper, then I'll hire them, because it has to work that way. Because why would you go get a college degree if it doesn't make a difference? Why? Unless you want to personally get it, because some people personally like to challenge themselves and get their degrees and all that, But a lot of times people go to school because they feel that the jobs want them to have this kind of requirement. Like the days that we used to have that, you go to a high school diploma and get a good job. Now them days are done. You have to have at least a bachelor's degree, and now they looking at masters like bachelor's degrees. So it's kind of like
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is that even though I understand that the colleges work with the jobs, is that you have to have this degree to get the job, it's the amount that they're paying for that degree. It's not coinciding. It's not matching up.
So, Andre, what do you think about the mindset of this? Because I know we were all kind of like, we went to college, got the job. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a mindset.
Right.
A
Absolutely.
Thing,
Absolutely. You're right. You're right. And so, it's like we're groomed. We're groomed from little children, but something that we always say up here, as a little girl, you're groomed. You get up, you grow up, you find this man, you get married, you have some children, and you live happily ever after. We're groomed that, that you go to college, you get a good, as you said, Carla Stain, a good government job or a good corporate job, and you retire and and you live happily ever after. But now, we've seen such a shift where people are really realizing their worth, and they're saying, hey, I can market myself. I have all these skills that are within me, and they're just sitting here. And as you said, Carla, sitting in a cubicle, and so just sitting there like, what about me? Hey, I have an idea. You see my hand? Hey, here I am. I can do that. I can, you know what I mean? And so when you really think about, I guess, the story of some of the people who have started these business corporate entities, when you listen to their story, they all just stepped out in faith, right? And so so it's like, okay, I can do that too. I can do the same thing. So I think it's really with anything. I know my niece-in-law decided that she wanted to homeschool her daughter. And so she caught some backlash from people like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. Why? Because no one else had done it. No one else in their immediate circle or in our immediate circle had ever homeschooled their child before. So, but she's thriving. She's thriving as a homeschool student. So it's just a matter of just stepping out of the norm, breaking away from tradition and saying, hey, I can do this. And as I'm listening to you all, I'm like, okay. But I will say I am very, very curious to learn about Maggie's Dream Plan Do model. I'm very interested to hear a little more about that.
Yes.
But I will add one thing, because I think that we really live now in the times where starting a business is probably the easiest and the cheapest it's ever been. Like if you think about internet and social media where you can market for free and you have access to a lot of people, it doesn't mean you don't have to put the work. You do, but it's no longer, I need to have huge resources and so on, unless, depending on your business idea. But a lot of businesses thrive online, and like all the apps, it's either free or very low cost, right? So that barrier of entry has diminished substantially. So I think like we are at the verge of a shift where more and more people will start just because of that. But when you think about 20 years ago, that wasn't the case, right? You had to have more money, more everything to be able to enter.
You had to have brick and mortar. You had to have phone lines, and you had to pay light bills, and you had to do all this stuff outside of your house. And you're not even paying your house bills. You're paying this rent and leases and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and you don't have to do that. Yeah, that's way better. So, Maggie, like Andrea said, let's talk about it. Let's talk about these points that you have.
Okay, so Dream Plan Do, this is my coaching model. And the way I think about it, everything starts in our mind, right? We have an idea for a business, we believe in it, and so on. But in entrepreneurship, there's a lot of mindset growth. You can be a driven person. I love to learn, but I've never grown so much like just growing my business. There's a lot of fears that come up, that emotional roller coaster is there. So you need to learn to manage your mind. Now, a lot of, many entrepreneurs that I see, that I coach on, when they start, they actually go from an idea to doing, right? They're like, I have this great idea, let's do it, right? What they do is they cost themselves a lot of effort, money, stress, and overwhelm when they go that, because they miss stuff they could have prevented if they only took some time to plan, or if they only took a little bit of a moment to put an intention to that and to say, okay, I have this idea, I believe in that it will work out, but what are the steps for me to go through, right? So the plan, instead of going from idea to doing, I tell my clients, no, have an idea, believe in it, but take a moment to plan. And depending on, the decision you're making and so on, it doesn't have to be days on end. It can be quick decisions. But when you take that moment, you create a space for your solutioning brain, for your creative brain to kick in. And then you can save yourself so much more time. You can prevent from those emergency life happening, a lot of that, and you can actually create a better solution for whatever you want to do. And then when you do it, so the third part is you do it smart. So work smart, not just hard, because we need to work hard no matter what.
That's my motto.
We can work smarter. Right?
Yes, that's my motto. Yes.
So that's the model. Dream, plan, and then do. And assess, and you can go again.
That's a good point you made, though. That's a great point, because a lot of people do that. You're on the high of excitement of starting your business, and you're like, I got a great idea, and then you go out there and spend all this money and do all this stuff, and then you go, I should have waited, because if I waited, I would known this. Or if I just had a mentor or someone who I could talk to, I could done that, and that would save you a lot. Because I tell you, I had to learn that, because I made those mistakes, because I'm one of those type of people. I'm less like, got it. This is good. I'm gonna do this and and then I backtrack and go, wait a minute, let me slow it up and let me figure this out. So I have done that. So I know exactly what you're saying. So I'm a witness to that. Because you get so excited when you start something, you get so excited and you just want to jump into it and do it.
Yeah.
A lot of times you see other people, like it seems like they done it like overnight. It seems like they did it like in 2 hours. Like the way they structure themselves and the way you see them marketing themselves, it seemed like they was nowhere. All of a sudden they just jumped on the scene and then it's like boom, you know, guess who's in the room? Like, what in the world? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this? And then you do it, you be like, I'm still at this point, you know, I've been doing this for this long, you know, because we'll be coming up to the year anniversary. So, you know, we've been doing this a year already, you know, and sometimes it takes time. It takes time to build. You gotta be, I think, Maggie, a good point you had said, you have to be realistic with it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be realistic. It takes time to build. You're not gonna get 1 million followers right out the gate. You know, there's some people who do, but those are not the norms. You shouldn't be going after that dream right there. You know, you should be optimistic, but be realistic. You know, it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. So, Carla, let's get some of these comments. I think we got like 1 or 2 comments. We'll go ahead and get in.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes. Lakeisha Walker says chaos crisis can also provoke creativity.
Okay. So I think that's about when we were talking about like being on a job, like a regular job, I think, or like a normal job.
Yes.
Is that what we're talking about? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, some people work on that. Some people work well with that, like that stressful kind of like last minute kind of thing. And some people like break because they can't deal with the pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Donna Pazant says, sometimes you can love the job but hate the environment. You may have to step out on faith and leave.
That's true.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, Donna. Yeah, that is true. It's like sometimes you love the job, and I think that's what keeps people there because they love, like they go to school. Let's say you go to school to be a social worker or, you know, something like specific, and you love helping people. You love helping the kids. You love helping families, communities, you know, do whatever. But the environment you're in is toxic. It's kind of like, I went to school to do what I do. I love what I do, but I don't like this. But how can I do this outside of here? Because some of them jobs are tied into a government base or tied into a system.
Yes.
How can you do it by yourself without the system?
Right.
Unless you're a consultant, I guess that's the creativity part.
Yep.
That's the creativity part. You could be a consultant to them, do something somewhere to consult in there. That's the only thing I can think of. Like, what can you do? You know, Maggie, what do you think about that? Like, only way you had to create a job. You had to create a need that they need.
That's right.
Yeah. And you know, like sometimes it's just we grow, right? Like when I think about my career, it's not like I hated my jobs. Actually, I always moved. The moment I was like bored with the job and so on, I just moved and so on. But I just got to the point of my life when that wasn't the right thing for me anymore. You know, like that sort of like, I don't know if it's a good comparison, but like marriage, right? Like at some point, like in the marriage that kind of fell apart, it's like it was great, but it's not for me anymore, right?
But it's okay to change too.
Yeah.
It's okay to change. It's okay. I think some people, I think we the last of the Mohicans of I've been in my job 30 years, give me my watch and clock and I go home. Like
my pension, right.
Yeah. Like, I mean, honestly, I know that I'm the last. I mean, I know even in my company or even other companies, they stopped doing that now. Like, I'm like the last of the ones who's getting the pension. Like, a lot of people are not doing that no more. They're doing 401ks.
401ks.
And you better hope that you're in a good cycle when you retire. You better that you're not on the low end and on that retirement time, because some people really come out good, and some people they lose and they about to come out of work and they got to go through the cycle. You know, the cycle goes around. So that's why, you know, it's important too when you do this. Even if you do like Maggie did, she did it as a part-time to bring another string of income in too. So you can think of it that way too. Like, if you love what you do, stay where you do and just do this as a passion project or something that you can bring another stream of income, because in this world today, we need more than one stream of income anyway.
Absolutely.
You don't have to leave one to make another if you like what you do.
Right.
Absolutely.
So there's different ways of making things happen.
Absolutely. And going back a little bit, Regina,
Mhm.
thinking of Lakeisha Walker, Dr. Walker,
Mhm.
who was one of our former platform guests.
Mhm.
Going back to a couple comments she made when she was with us, she talked a lot about people pleasers. And
Mhm.
so, we may have or you may have had the dream to launch out, in the deep and start your own. But because, like I said, with my niece, because no one in our circle ever did it,
Right.
then, just to please people, you may have, taken the low road and just stayed in your position. But I'm
Good
really
point.
glad to see that you went against maybe some naysayers. I'm sure you may have had some naysayers or doubters, and you went ahead and you did that. You went and did it. Dr. Walker also said that our thoughts impact our emotions, right? And our emotions impact our actions. So
Mhm.
instead of going with what the crowd was saying, you
Mhm.
went out on your own. So um, what were some of the things you had to do in your pre-planning? Like, I know you didn't just one day just go in and say, hey, I quit and I'm just going to do this. What were some things that you had to prepare for in order to be where you are now?
Yeah. Carla Stain, you want to answer that first?
Sure. So one thing was, having a cushion, like they said, you have to save some money, have it aside, and sit down and do some work. Now you have to do some me work, like I said, which was, you know, go to some counseling or, a life coach or someone and talk it out, figure out what it is that you like, what it is that you like to do, what it is that I like to do is what I did. What is that thing that I would do for free right now
Mm-hmm.
that, without even thinking about it, somebody calls me up and says, oh, I want to go on a vacation somewhere, and I'm just looking it up, and I'm trying to find them places to go. And so that was something that I love to do. It's just the idea of making somebody happy going on a vacation somewhere, knowing that they're going to have this peaceful and loving experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so just getting to know what made me feel, brought me joy.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the things that I had to figure out and make sure that, that I was in pursuit of my joy.
Right.
Um,
Joy is the key. That's the key
yeah,
of the happiness, period, regardless of what you do. It's like what we're being in tune with yourself, doing your work. You being in tune with yourself, and then you'll be able to know
exactly,
what you want.
exactly.
A lot of people
Yes,
don't know what they want because they're not in tune with themselves. So that's why
right.
they're doing the rat races because of
Yeah,
that. Right?
exactly.
That makes sense, right?
So I'm
Yes.
Yes,
not,
yes.
I did have, my cushion, and like I said, I relocated. I left Georgia, moved to North Carolina because I wanted to focus on me, and not anybody else. And so once I came here, I started doing, like I said, the me work and doing research on my business. And I started setting up my business foundations, like, the LLC and all that, and the my federal ID numbers and all of that. But of course, I still have bills to pay. So I started looking for jobs in the travel industry, so that I can make, pay my bills. And as time went by and money went down, I started to look for jobs in any industry until I got to the point where I was filling out an application for that good government job that I just left. And I'm like, what are you doing? This is not what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm filling out this application and arguing with myself the whole time, but I filled it out and sent it in anyway. And the very next day, as fate would have it, and thanks to God, I got an email from a manager in the travel industry offering me she was excited about my resume and cover letter and offered me a position that allows me to pay my bills and also enhance my knowledge in the travel base, So,
Excellent.
so
Excellent.
you have to maintain that level of faith and gratitude with God.
Gratitude.
Mhm.
First and
Good.
foremost.
That is key.
Good
You
point.
got to know who you are and what it is that brings you joy. And you have to be realistic, like Margie said. You have to make a plan. You got to make a plan, and you are going to have those naysayers. You're going to have those people that say, you don't want to give up your good government job, because I had them. Believe me, to me, that good government job wasn't good to me.
Right.
But everybody else thought it was good. And I'm like, people were telling me, you don't want to do that. What are you doing? Well, are you sure? And and then you just have to put them out of your mind, and you just have to not, take it personally, because they're just going by,
It's their fears.
yeah, their
Your
fears.
fears.
They're
Yeah,
going
they
by
put
their
their
fears.
insecurities on you.
And-
That's what they
and-
doing.
Yep, and they're what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Like, when they're programming, they're programmed
Their
to,
belief system.
think this way. Yeah, their belief system. And so, you just gotta not take it with a grain of salt. That's how they believe, and that's on them. But you gotta know and be true to you.
Yeah, good point, Carla. Great point. So Maggie, one of the reasons why she's on the show, and I'm gonna put her information up here, is because she actually has business that will help you with this kind of. This is like up her alley. So if you need to talk to Maggie, I have her information down here scrolling on the bottom of the screen. And she told you that her point system and what she uses to help and consult, correct, Maggie?
Yes.
The business. Okay, so the 3-point plan sounds good to me. And that middle piece is what you need Maggie for. Because we all got the first part down. As soon as we like, oh, we want to go out there and run and do it. We got the last part down, because after you get through all that, spend all that money, do all that, then you get to the promised land, but you're already broke now and they got to catch up. So now you need that middle piece. And that's where Maggie can definitely help you with that middle piece. And I would like to say that she's our first international guest. She is from Toronto, Canada. And I'm so happy to have her. We are international people. We are international. Once again, we are international. So, I really appreciate you being here, Maggie. I really do. And like I said, she knows what she's talking about. She's done it. She walked the walk. She taught the talk. And she's actually doing it herself. So if you see her information here, if for some reason you don't get it, please contact us on our website. I'll definitely get you in contact with Maggie, www.letstalk1943.com. And I'll put that up there as well. Maggie, so when you have your, really briefly, because I have to go to another segment, but do you give them like a plan, like a certain week setup plans? Like how's your system?
No, so we create, when I work with my clients, and depending where they are, but let's just say if they're very early in their stage, I have a great group program that really is great value for starting entrepreneurs. So we create a plan that works for them, right? So I had clients just like me who had a job, and we were figuring out how to run both for time until they feel confident, right? So we decide where do I want to be for me to be confident to quit, right? Mm-hmm. And then we work towards that. And then I had clients that were already starting a business. They didn't have a job because, just like Carla, maybe they lost it, or fresh out of college, that happened too, and they just wanted to go against the grain and start it. And then we create a plan and work that plan, whatever, right? So every situation is different. I adapt it to the client, and then depending, but ultimately, you want to build confidence around your ability to do it. You want to gain some skills in marketing and sales and understand how your business stands out from the crowd, how you can shine so people can come. And then how do I implement consistently and learn from my failures? And despite the messiness, I don't stop, right? I don't procrastinate. I don't shut down. And that's all it's about. And if you can do it, you'll be successful, 100%.
Well, she told you again. She know what she's talking about. So y'all contact Maggie. I won't be surprised you be hearing me like, I'm like, hello, Maggie, how you doing? Like, is that Regina? Yeah. So, Carla, let's get the last comments, and we're gonna go ahead and start doing a couple things to close out.
Okay. Lakeisha Walker says you remember
Yes.
to Andre, remembering her
Yes.
when she was here.
Dr. Walker, you're amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. A very unforgettable unforgettable part.
A lot of great nuggets you provided, Dr. Walker. Definitely. And she clapped on what we were talking about. Thank you. And Ricky Morton says, my position allows me to help others. A promotion offered to me would direct me down a different path. Help. So that's for Maggie.
All right. This is actually one of my cousins. This is one of my new cousins. Hi, cuz. She's one of the Mortons. So, Maggie, you want to give any suggestions on that?
Down a different path. Wow, that's sometimes, what I want to say, Ricky, think about what you want, right? So think about it this way. If you found yourself 3 years from now in that new position, would you be happy? Like, do you see yourself there, right? Or if you stayed in a position you are for 3 years, how do you feel, right? For me, because if I didn't leave my job, I would probably get a promotion this year. I actually had an opportunity to be promoted last year. And I had that moment. It's like, oh, do I go with my business or do I pursue that opportunity? More pay, whatever. But for me, the answer was no, because it meant more stress, more demand, and it wasn't worth it for me, right? Mm-hmm. But that's very individual. So you want to answer that for yourself, right? Think long term. If I were to stay in either position for the next 3 years, how would I feel, right? Would I be happy?
Yeah. So basically, Ricky, you have to really sit down and write it out. Mm-hmm. That's the only way you'll be able to get through it. Yeah, write it out and write out a 1 year, 3 and 5 year forecast on where you see yourself in these positions, and that will answer it right there for you. And a different path sometimes is good. And I know it's scary. But different sometimes is good. Change is good. And sometimes God kind of has to shift us a little bit to push us a certain way. And, those opportunities, don't be scared of them if it's going to be something new. But if it's good, it's going to work itself out. Like, we all learned everything. We had to start from scratch for every job we had. You know how you first get a job, like, I don't know how I'm going to learn this. And then 5 years later, you doing it with your eyes closed. Then you go to the next job. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And you do it with your eyes closed. Because it's like we just instantly get scared, but it's not that bad. We always going to learn what we going to learn, So.
Exactly. And you can always learn, no matter the job, right? There's always skills you'll pick up that will serve you forever. Whatever we learn stays with us. And even if you learn, this is not what I want to do long term, you can always leave. Like, we always have a choice, right? It's not forever and so on.
That's right.
So good that point. Can also be...
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we get stuck at. We were talking about that. Andre was saying that sometimes you get stuck and you think that, like, if you don't like it, go to another job. Like, you're not stuck. Right. You're not stuck. Like, it's not over. Like, some people are like, oh man, I don't like it here. Well, go. Go to the next job. It's like, nobody gonna tell you can't go. But we get so used to a certain pattern. We get used to the same thing over and over and over again. Get off the rat race, man. Get off the, the hamster wheel. Like, try something new. Try something new. I mean, it's really worth it. And like you said, if you're scared to do it as a side. Now, I don't like to say side, but it is a kind of side if you do something else. But, you do it like that. And maybe you'll grow into it and you'll be like, you know what? I love this. I mean, I come home every night. I do this. I have so much, like I could compare now what I do during the day, what I do at night, how I feel here and how I feel there. That's how you know what you need to do. When you get home and you can stay up all night and do something and you're just bubbling with energy, then you go to other place, you're like, oh, that right there tells you what you need to do. Now you just put your plan to action and call Maggie because she'll be able to assist you with that. And, and like Carla Stain said, sometimes we need to work within. And sometimes you need to get that counselor, that coach, that spiritual, whatever you need to get you on the straight and narrow. So, all right. Okay, I gotta get good. I gotta be good. There's a couple of people that's saying something, Carla. I don't want to leave them out.
Absolutely.
So I gotta go.
Dr. Walker says thank you all.
Thank you.
And Ricky Morton says thank you. I'm rolling the dice.
All right. There you go.
Adrian Hardy says, I
you.
needed this great show. Thank you, Adrian.
Hi, Adrian.
And Ricky Morton says, my age.
Yeah, don't worry about that, Ricky. It's got nothing to do with that.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about that. So we're going to go ahead. Thank you so much, my listeners. Once again, my watchers, I really appreciate y'all. We're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about a couple things before we head out today. And one of the things I want to talk about is sponsorship and donations for our show, Let's Talk. We have been here for a year. We have a great following. And now we are moving up to sponsorship. So if you're interested in being a sponsor for Let's Talk, it's only $15 per show. You give us your media flyer, and we'll show it on the show, and we'll talk about your product and services. And that'll be a great opportunity for you to build your business and grow your business if you're an entrepreneur. $15 is a great investment for your business. So if you're interested in that, you just let us know at Let's Talk, the website. You can just put your contact information there. We'll get back to you. www.letstalk.com. Let's Talk 1943. Sorry, www.letstalk1943.com, and we'll be able to get back to you with that. And the next thing here is I got to share. I love this new thing they have. It's so easy now for me to share stuff. All right, so drum roll, please. Ladies and gentlemen, I am having my first workshop. It's called Ring Out Your Sponge. Actually, the book is on Amazon right now. It's going to be from March 1st, and it's going to be every Tuesday in March. So 4 weeks, we're going to have great motivational speakers. We're going to have the workbook. We're going to work through all these things that we were talking about today, is doing your work. And we're going to do that by wringing out those insecurities, wringing out these fears, wringing out all this stuff so you can start that business, and you'll have a platform, you have a journal to go through the journey with you so you can see where you started, where you end. Beautiful. You will love it. And now we're looking for people to do this. This is a free program right now. We're looking for beta tests. We're actually going to take it through and work it out. So if you're interested, we're looking for 10 people to do Ring Out Your Sponge workshop. So if you're interested, please let us know. I would love to have you. Like I said, it's 1 hour, 1 day a week for 4 weeks. And we would love to have you. Thank you. Yes. See my book. Please. The only thing I ask you to do is get the book from Amazon. It's under $10, so it's not a big, cost. But we need you to get the book from Amazon if you're interested. We're looking for 10 people. All right, get back over here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm about to pull everything else up and what I need to be pulling up. I'm pulling up everything else and what I need to pull up. All right. You got so many people on the screen now. I got to find it. Get it off.
You got to go scroll down.
Oh, no, right. Wrong one. Next. Okay. So we are on Anchor podcast. So please look us up at Anchor. You can't have time to sit and watch us. Please watch us on Anchor. Watch us on Anchor. Listen to us on Anchor and all other platforms. We on Apple, we on Breaker, we on Google platform. So anytime we're up there ready for you to listen to us on any podcast. Our next show is going to be, actually, I'm having a bonus show that I'm going to do because I think it's really important. So I'm doing a show on Sunday, the 6th, and it's about I'm not your hair. I'm not my hair. I'm not my hair. I have some experts about hair, especially in the Black community with our hairs and what we go through with hair and being natural, not being, perms. It's going to be a great, great show. So join us on next Sunday on the 6th of February. Now, the show after that is our Saturday show. It's going to be Saturday because Super Bowl is on that Sunday. So we're doing it on Saturday, our anniversary show. We have a panel of men with us. It's going to be amazing. Please join us. And that's all I have. So until next time, invite a friend and then let's talk again. Until next time, anybody else anything to say?
Thank you, Maggie. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Maggie, Carla, and Carla.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
Our
you.
panelists, I
All
want
three
to
of
thank
you.
y'all.
Wow.
I really appreciate y'all being here. Y'all made the show fabulous. A lot of people learned stuff, so we are so happy for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next time, God bless.
Bye,
Good night.
everybody.